Hello, beautiful people. Thank you so much for tuning in, watching, and listening. This is going to be the September 2022 reading for the zodiac sign of Capricorn. As always, my readings are very intuitive, so I'll provide you with any intuitive messages that I receive, as well as the meaning of the tarot cards. I do recommend you check out your sun, moon, and rising just to get a full picture of everything that's going on for you this month. And if you haven't done so already, please do subscribe to my YouTube channel. When you subscribe, that helps me greatly, and you'll be notified when I post future videos. With that being said, let's go and jump in and get started. In column number 1, we're going to take a look at what's wrapping up and coming to a close, so last few weeks or month. Column number 2, we're going to take a look at what's coming for the month of September. We're going to do a money column, a love column, and in the 5th and final column, we're going to do a message from our future self or spirit guides. We're also going to do 3 yes or no questions, a crystal of the month, and a healing note for you. But let's go ahead and get started. Again, what's wrapping up and coming to a close in this first column? We have the card efficiency. I love efficiency. Let me just start by saying that. But this is about like removing obstacles for yourself or rethinking the way that we're doing things. This is about becoming more efficient in the things that we do. For those of you that know me, I actually work in business efficiencies outside of doing these readings, but efficiency is good. So I feel like you have not only had a really productive last few weeks or month, again, this is removing the obstacles, taking new approaches. This is really bettering yourself and bettering the things you're doing. So like to see that there. Let's see what messages come underneath here, Capricorn. Okay, the first card we have is the Ace of Wands. Anytime we have an Ace card, this is a card of newness. In the case of Ace of Wands, this is new project, new inspiration, new urge to create. So it feels like there's been something new coming on these last few weeks. The next card we have is the Knight of Cups. The Knight of Cups is truly like the knight in shining armor type energy. It's Prince or Princess Charming. It's romantic. It's proposals. So there could have been a new relationship or an advancement of an existing relationship, but lots of new energy coming in here. And then at the bottom here we have the Six of Pentacles. The Six of Pentacles is a card of giving or receiving help. It's a very generous card. I will clarify this card, of course, but I'm not really sure, Capricorn, whether you have been getting some additional help that you needed. It feels like some of you have stepped up and helped somebody else with something they needed. Again, we'll clarify that a little bit further, though. Oops. These cards just want to jump out, apparently. Okay, the first clarifier we have is the Page of Wands. The Page of Wands is new again. So we have the Ace of Wands, which is that new project, inspiration, urge to create. And we have our Page of Wands, which shows a person being active. And in this case, this is you. This is taking action on this new opportunity. But this is also saying new project or new creative idea. So no doubt that there was something new and something big and something wonderful that was kicked off. And I do, again, see you giving time and energy and effort to this new thing. The next card that we have is the Sun card. In terms of good cards in the deck, it really doesn't get much better than the Sun card. This is a card of material happiness, joyous outcomes, successful outcomes. For those of you entering into a new relationship, it seems like this relationship's giving you lots of happiness. Even though this is typically a love card, this could be a friendship card. This could be a new pet as well. But again, this relationship, whether new or existing, because sometimes this is an advancement of a relationship with the Knight of Cups, is bringing a lot of joy. Again, it doesn't get much better than the Sun card. And then at the bottom here we have the Ace of Wands again, so echoing that message of this new project, this new inspiration to create, this new thing carrying you forward. Potentially this new opportunity or this new project or this new effort is allowing you to help people, Capricorn. That seems to be a message that's coming through here. But anyways, now let's take a look at our next column, which is again just in general what's coming for the month of September. We have the card Center. Center is one of those very important cards. This is about being centered with yourself, being centered with your feelings. This is being centered in the moment here on earth. This is also about not letting other people pull you away from what you're hoping to work on or throw you off your center. So if there's a relationship that is taking away from you, we want to be careful of that, or an activity that takes away from you. Center is not at all selfish, but it's again caring for yourself and keeping in this finely balanced place. Well, let's go ahead and read through here and see what other messages we have. The first card that we have is the Death card. The Death card does not mean death, but it does indicate a big change or ending. It's time to move on, rebirth, transformation. I think you're going to be entering into a period of time where you are more centered, which is always good to see, Capricorn. But definitely an indicator of some sort of transformation coming forward for you. The next card that we have is the Justice card. The Justice card is one of those cards that is always favorable for you. It's cause and effect. It's win-win. You have worked hard for this, so now you're being given this. Or you've been honest, so now you are receiving this. It's like the efforts that you've put forward are now being returned with something positive. The Justice card is also a good card in terms of legal matters, items of the court, contracts. Those indicate favorable outcomes on those. Again, this is that truth coming out too, so maybe somebody took credit for work that you've been doing, but in reality it's very obvious with the Justice, you'll be getting the credit you deserve for the work that you've done. And at the bottom here we have the Nine of Wands. The Nine of Wands is a card of keeping and maintaining boundaries. It's also a card of persistence. I do feel like you need to actively work towards becoming this centered being. But the other thing is I feel like there's going to be some opportunities to set some new boundaries going into the month of September. And I know boundaries always sound a little off-putting, but in reality it's a good thing. If you look at this card, this person has not built a wall around themselves, but a fence, and this fence is filtering in the good things and keeping out the bad. And those boundaries do that exact same thing for you, Capricorn. Okay, clarifying. Your first clarifier is the Chariot. Somebody once described this to me as the vroom vroom card. It means there's action, there's change, there's movement. We're on a journey here. And the Death card is very much so that same thing. We're on that transformation journey. The one thing I love about the Chariot is you don't always know where you're going with the Chariot, but you can trust that the Chariot's taking you the right place. So you might be feeling like this transformation is happening, but you may not know exactly where you're going or what your next move is, and that's okay because we have the Chariot here to guide us through this action and this change. The next card that we have is the Hermit. The Hermit is a card of going within for clarity. This is about spiritual illumination. This is about doing things that feel good for us. If you see here, there's a light inside the lantern. That's the light inside of you, Capricorn. And this is about checking in and making sure that the things that we're doing feel good. Sometimes you kind of have to pull back a little bit. I remember we talked about with the center card, sometimes we're pulling back a little bit to make sure those relationships are serving us well. But the Hermit on top of the Justice, I feel like with this truth coming out or with this new information, we want to check in with ourselves and move forward accordingly. And then at the bottom here, we have the Five of Wands. The Five of Wands is a card of rivalry, challenges, obstacles. I always tell people this is small bumps in the road, though. If you take a look at this card, they're fighting with wands, they're not fighting with swords. I do think that boundaries will help you stay away from some of this. Like there could be conflicts or little things that are popping up, and because of it, you're setting these new boundaries. You're hoping to prevent these conflicts in the future. Again, nothing major, but there does seem a few bumps in the road, but again, boundaries will be very helpful there. Now let's take a look at our next column, which is anything related to money. So think job, career, finances, businesses you run, investments that you have. The first card that we have here is the Two of Wands. The Two of Wands is about having to make a choice. Anytime we have two of something on a card, this is very much so a decision card. You're followed by another decision card. This could also be waiting for results. So there's something that you're waiting for in terms of finance or your career at this point. But again, it does feel like a decision needs to be made. The next card that we have is the Two of Swords, which is going to echo that message. Again, anytime we have two of something on a card, it's going to be indicating that decision that needs to be made. We're going to see if we can, of course, clarify a little bit more on that detail. And then at the bottom here, we have the Eight of Cups. I would say for those of you that are making a decision between something old and something new, it seems like we're going to be going after this something new with this Eight of Cups here. If you look at this card, there are 8 cups stacked at the bottom. They're stacked really nicely, they look good, but yet this person in the background is still moving on. They're moving away from them. This is that card of going from good to better. The Eight of Cups is withdrawing, retreating, moving on. So just keep that in mind. I do feel like some of you are going to be making the decision to move on. And when you move on, again, this is going from good to better. The first clarifier we have is the Ace of Cups. The Ace of Cups is, well, anytime we have an ace card, it's a card of newness, so do keep that in mind. This is typically new baby, relationship, proposal. In terms of proposal, we think marriage oftentimes, but we're talking about money here. So I do think some of you are going to be getting a new job opportunity, a new business proposal, or perhaps a relationship is coming to you with an opportunity, and very well this is something you've been anticipating or something you've been waiting for with that Two of Wands. So some sort of new offering coming in here. The next card that we have is the Three of Swords. The Three of Swords is a card of heartbreak, low feelings. It typically indicates that some sort of healing needs to be done. But what I'm seeing here is like, I don't know that you've been treated the best at your current job. And that's kind of what you're trying to decide. But it's like you don't love it here, but you don't know about the next move either. Of course, anytime we have something new, we're unsure what that new thing will be or what it will lead to. So I do feel like you have been hurt by your current place of employment, but it's like maybe not enough to drive the move. So that's why we have 2 cards here saying that we're having to kind of ponder this decision. And then at the bottom here, we have the Justice card. The Justice card is a card, again, of cause and effect, win-win solutions, truth coming out. I do feel like for those of you that move on to this new position or new place or new opportunity, they seem to be valuing you more here. They know your worth. They see your truth. They see the work that you're doing. And again, this going from good to better, this is like, because you've done this, now you get this. So it's a cause and effect. This is almost like a stepping stone to something better. Now, Capricorn, we're going to take a look at our next column, which is anything related to love. So think family, friends, relationship, children, whatever you associate with love. The first card we have here is the Empress. The Empress is one of those really good cards we like to see anywhere in the reading. This is a card of creation, a card of abundance. Those 2 things in itself are so beautiful. We want the ability to create and we want abundance. And you get both of those wrapped up in the Empress card. So if you are hoping to create more abundant love, that's a possibility. If you're hoping to create a new relationship or an advancement of a current relationship, that is absolutely a possibility. The Empress is also a card of pregnancy and fertility, so for those of you hoping to expand your family, this is a good card for you as well. The next card that we have here is the Five of Cups. The Five of Cups is a card of loss, regret, grief, feeling abandoned, feeling unloved. If you look at this card, this person's head's hanging low, they're dressed in all black, and they're almost grieving those spilt cups there. There's something that's bothering you here, something that's going on. I do feel like there's conflict, obviously, taking a look at our next card, and likely these low feelings are being driven by some of this conflict we have with the Five of Wands. We had the Five of Wands here earlier, and this is again that card of rivalry, obstacles, challenges, small bumps in the road. So there's some things popping up this month in terms of love. Again, nothing major derailing, but they are bothering you. But I do want to give the reminder with the Empress, you have the ability to create whatever you want. So we have the ability to create resolution for this conflict or for these low feelings, ways to prevent this. Let's clarify and see what messages we've got coming through here. The first card that we have is the Knight of Pentacles. The Knight of Pentacles is very reliable, very patient, very hardworking. I wouldn't, if you guys are in a relationship and feeling some of these conflicts this month, I wouldn't like throw in the towel or give up on this relationship. And overall, it does feel patient, it feels hardworking, it feels reliable. The Knight of Pentacles is coming through as you and this person that you're in the relationship with. If you're hoping to enter a relationship, I would say that this same thing, this is going to be somebody who's willing to work for it. The next card that we have is the Two of Cups. The Two of Cups is a really good love card. Of course, love it when it comes up in the love column. This is romantic love, partnership, proposal, marriage. I feel like love is going to trump this situation. So again, although there are some conflicts, the love is going to persevere here, which is a good thing. For those of you that are feeling low because you're not in a relationship, this is a great indicator of a new relationship coming for you as well with the Two of Cups. And then at the bottom here we have the Page of Swords. The Page of Swords is very curious. This is about finding out truth or seeking truth. I feel like you need to talk out whatever this situation is that's happening. Or maybe your partner is agitated, but we need to find out why, and it might not even be with you. Perhaps they're having issues with work, but it's we need to find out the truth of what's driving these conflicts, these bumps in the road. Okay, Capricorn, now let's take a look at our fifth and final column, which is a message from our future self or spirit guides. We have the card Friction, which is a couple different meanings. When things get moving, there's friction, there's heat, but it means that there's movement. The other meaning behind this is friction, and this could be these small bumps in the road that we're talking about. So let's see what messages we get in this final column here. The first card that we have is the Judgment card. The Judgment card is a card of clarity. Again, as these little conflicts pop up, we need to make sure that we have clarity and we have truth as to why we're having conflict. If you don't ever figure out what's causing the fight, of course the fight is going to continue to happen and we're going to continue to have that cycle. So be really, really thoughtful of that, Capricorn. Look for truth, look for clarity, look for resolution. The next card that we have is the Star card. The Star card is a card of renewal, hope, and inner clarity. As I mentioned before, I don't think any of these conflicts will be majorly derailing. But if we can get to this clarity and we can get to this resolution, it's going to renew the energy. It's going to renew the hope. And clarity is the message that's coming up again. So make sure we have clarity as to why this is happening. And then at the bottom here, we have the Knight of Pentacles. We were just talking about the Knight of Pentacles. This is that reliable, patient, hardworking card. Nobody's trying to get out of this relationship. The willingness and desire to work it out is there. So seek clarity so we can get to this point of renewal and mitigate some of this, some of these small bumps in the road. The first clarifier we have is the Two of Wands. The Two of Wands is a card of waiting for results. I feel like you have been waiting to try and figure this out, see if it's going to resolve itself. But again, try and talk it out, try and get that clarity. You can drive this forward. You don't necessarily need to wait for it with the Two of Wands. The next card that we have is the Seven of Swords. This is a card of theft, betrayal, dishonesty. Could also be old relationships that are coming into play or old things that have happened that now drive our behaviors. So be aware of that this could be almost like PTSD or trauma from a previous relationship that causes these kind of actions. But again, we can find clarity on this and we can provide ourselves with that renewal and that better understanding. And at the bottom here, we have the Death card. Again, the Death card does not mean death, but it is an indicator of transformation and moving forward and moving on. So again, these are conflicts that can be resolved, find clarity behind them, and advance forward from them. Okay, Capricorn, we're going to take a look now. I'm going to give you the opportunity to ask 3 yes or no questions. We're going to use the Gypsy Witch fortune telling deck. If you don't have 3 questions in mind, you can pause the video and think of them really quick. But for question number 1, we have the 9 of Diamonds. This is number 39 card. That's going to be a yes. Question number 2 is the 5 of Clubs. This is number 33 card. That's a yes. And question number 3 is the King of Hearts. This is number 24 card. That's also a yes. So yeses all the way across the board. Yes, yes, yes for you, Capricorn. We are going to pull a card from our Healing Stones deck, which is a crystal to keep with you throughout the month of September. Your crystal this month is Emerald, which is good for harmony and beauty. It opens you up to yourself and opens you up to partners. It's very revitalizing, and it gives you an overall sense of togetherness. And last but not least, we're going to pull a card from our Healing Notes deck. Your healing note says, walk gently, breathe peacefully, and laugh joyfully. Thank you so much, Capricorn, for tuning in, watching, and listening. Please do like, comment, subscribe. Let me know how this video resonates with you. Again, subscriptions help me greatly, so they are always appreciated. And if you feel inclined, I'd include my Venmo in the comments box if you'd like to make a donation. But thank you again, Capricorn, and I hope you have a wonderful September.